Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about my comfort movies, and I am a serial rewatcher. So if I find something that I like, I'll watch it like 10 times or more. And I do have so many movies that could fit in the comfort movie category for me, but I did only pick 10 today, and they're not going to be in any specific order because I can't order them. That is too stressful. I love all of these so much. And I do have kind of like a range of genres. They all kind of fit the similar vibe because they're all just something that I like. So I feel like there are similarities among them, but the first one that I have to go with is one that I watch every single year, and I probably have watched it every single year since its release because I love it so much, is Divergent. And I don't know what it is about this. I mean, I probably do. It's probably just the fact that Theo James is in it. That could be a main factor. But I think the main thing for me is just that whole 2010s dystopian time. I love any movie from that time period, really. Like, I could put them all in here. I would add Hunger Games in here as well, but I feel like that's not really a comforting movie with all the death that goes on in it. But I do also watch that quite a bit, and that is a movie that I enjoy. But right now we're talking about Divergent. I just love this storyline. I think it's so interesting. It is a dystopian, and if you haven't heard of this movie, you must be living under a rock. But it's supposed to be set in like a distant future where the world has been war-torn, and we are in Chicago, which is walled off and has factions, and everyone has to fit into a faction. There are, I think, 5, so like there's smart people, people that tell the truth, there's the farmers, we've got Dauntless, which is like the main faction that's really discussed in the movies, which is basically, they're kind of like an army of sorts. I don't really know. I feel like I'm explaining this terribly. And there's also Abnegation, which is where our main character Triss comes from originally, and they're like selfless. So the traits that make up these factions, the people have to have. But if you fit into multiple factions, if you have multiple traits, then you are divergent, and that is seen as a threat in this world. And our main character Triss happens to be divergent, so it follows her trying to navigate all that. And of course there is a little romance along the way, which I love, always. But yeah, I definitely watch this movie every year. Every single year without fail I will watch this movie. I have watched it this year already. Probably will watch it again this year. I love it so much. I don't know what I can say other than that it is peak cinema for me. I just think it's so good. I don't like to talk about the rest of the movies because they're not great, especially the last one. It completely went off track from the books. But the books aren't amazing either. Like, they're good, but it's not great. Again, movie, definitely not a cinematic masterpiece. I know I said it's peak cinema for me, but that's just me. It wouldn't win awards. Like, it's just a fun dystopian movie, but I think it's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure many of you agree. The next movie that I have here is Practical Magic. I was gonna say this is another one that I watch a lot, but all of these I've seen at least 5 times. So I love this movie. It is about these sisters that happen to be witches, and they're played by Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. I just think this is a fantastic movie. I love it. It's so good. I love the house that it's set in. I want to live in that house. I love the storyline. I love the little romance aspects. I just love everything about it. The soundtrack, everything. The costuming, because it was in the 90s, so I just love all the outfits as well. I just want to live in this movie. And it feels so warm and cozy, and I love it. And it has, I guess, I don't know if you would really call it horror aspects, but like there are some like scary bits if you get scared easily. But I just think this is the perfect movie. It's got suspense, it's got romance, it's got great portrayals of sisterhood, we've got female friendships, it's everything that I love. And witches. So it's great. I just love it so much. It's so good. And I know this is also a book as well, which I haven't read the book, but I feel like I should because I love this movie so much. The next movie is one that I have actually seen over 20 times. Like, I'm not even joking, over 20 times. And that is To All the Boys I Loved Before. I was obsessed with this movie when it came out. It came out in 2018. and I watched it to death. Like, I still really enjoy this movie. I don't love the second and third movie as much, but this first movie was everything to me. I adored it. And I still go back to it sometimes and I'm like, that's a great movie, let me rewatch it. But it was just so good. If I was ever upset and I wanted to be happy, this movie, put it on, instantly mood lifted. It was just the cutest thing. It's about Lara Jean, who is in high school, and she always writes letters when she has a crush to kind of get over her crush, but also like admitting her feelings in the letters, and then she just puts them away. But then one day her little sister sends out the letters. So now people at school have gotten the letters. One is her sister's ex-boyfriend, and one is one of the guys that she's liked for a long time but is dating her ex-best friend. So we've got lots of drama. We've got a fake dating in there, which is a trope I love. And this movie also got me back into reading at that time as well. After watching the movie, I was like, I need to read the books. So I got all the books, read all the books, and that's really when I started liking reading again. So this movie has done great things for me. It brought me back to reading, and it gave me a lot of enjoyment when watching it. Also, this is another movie with a soundtrack that I was obsessed with. I know I just said like Practical Magic, amazing soundtrack. This one as well, I would listen to the songs from this movie like every day. I loved all the songs, and it was just, it was a time. It was definitely a time. But yeah, anyone who knew me personally at this time in my life knew I forced everyone to watch this movie. I think I made my friends watch it like during lunchtime at high school because I loved it that much. So sorry to my friends for forcing you all to watch this movie a million times, but if you enjoyed it, maybe you can thank me as well. The next movie is Booksmart, and this is like the coming of age movie for me. I would say that it is perfect. I really enjoyed it, and I have seen this again multiple times, and it's about our two main characters. I don't even remember their names. Should I remember their names? Probably. Amy and Molly, they're best friends, and they've worked really hard all throughout high school so they can try and get into a good college. And it's their final year, their final couple of days really in high school, right before graduation, and they realise that all their peers, whilst they've been partying and having a good time throughout high school, have actually gone well in class and have maintained good grades and get into quite good colleges. So they're a bit taken aback because they're like, why did we put in so much effort if everyone else was able to do the same thing plus have a fun high school experience? So they try and change that, and they try and go to all the parties that happen in the last week, and it is just hilarious. The acting is great. We've got as our main characters Beanie Feldstein and Caitlin Dever, and I think that they portray high schoolers really well, and their comedic timing is really great. Like, it's so funny. There's multiple times where I would like actually laugh out loud, LOL, in multiple bits of the movie, because I feel like quite often in a comedy I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, it's funny, but I don't actually laugh. In this, I'd be laughing, and it's great. I just think it's so much fun. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely watch it. And I think it's great to watch also if you are in that final year of high school. It's just giving all the vibes, and it's so fun, and I really recommend. The next movie is another like high school setting, and I do have a few of those. I just feel like because I watched them when I was in high school, and then I loved them and watched them so often that they're all in here. But next is John Tucker Must Die. This is another one that I always make my friends watch because I think it's hilarious. It is about John Tucker, who is a player basically in the high school, and he does it in a really smart way because he has multiple girlfriends, right? But they're all in different cliques. So he's basically dating these three girls at once. I think one's a cheerleader and one's in like the newspaper, and one, I can't remember what kind of like clique she was in, but I think she was like a vegetarian. That means nothing to cliques, but it kind of made sense in that movie. I don't know, but you know what I mean. Like, they all had different friend groups, so they didn't talk to each other, and they didn't know that they were all dating John Tucker, which I think is strange in the first place because he was supposed to be like the most popular guy in school. So surely they would know, but somehow he made it work and they didn't know. I'm so sorry, there's a dog barking now because I just looked out the window. There's like a bag flying around in the wind on the street, so I think that dog thinks it's like some sort of animal. It's probably not going to stop, I'm sorry. But a new girl comes to the school who is played by Brittany Snow, and she becomes friends with all these other girls that were being cheated on in detention, and they come up with a plan to trick John Tucker into falling in love with Brittany so they can get revenge. So it's a little revenge storyline. Her name's not Brittany in the movie though. I just said Brittany because that's the actor's name. But you know what I mean. So it's a little revenge storyline, which I always love. I love a good revenge storyline, but this one is also really funny as well. It is a comedy, so it's good. I really like it. Next is a musical, and this is a movie that I have been loving and rewatching since I was like 6, and that would be Grease. I love this movie and I love all the songs. It was just everything to me as a child, and I still love to rewatch it now. But I never had it on disc when I was younger, and of course that's how I used to watch movies when I was little, on DVD, because there was no streaming service. So whenever I would go to one of my friends' houses, I knew she had Grease, and I would like beg to put Grease on every single time because that's how much I loved it. And so obviously at a young age, I had that same thing in me now to rewatch things that I love. It's just always been a thing that I do, and Grease is no different. Like, it is just an amazing musical to me. I'm sure there are probably better musicals or more recent ones that people love, but Grease for me is the musical. I probably know all the songs, and I just love it. I do. This next movie is one that I haven't heard anyone talk about. I feel like I'm the only one that's ever watched it, which is strange because there's some great actors in the cast, and that is You Again. This has Jamie Lee Curtis, we have Betty White, we have Sigourney Weaver, we have Kristen Bell. I loved this movie. And this once again is a comedy, and it's about Kristen Bell's character who used to be bullied in high school, but now she's like a grown-up. She got a big promotion in her job, but her brother's getting married, so she has to fly back home for the wedding, and she hasn't actually met the brother's fiance. So when she gets back home, she realizes that the brother's fiance was actually her high school bully, which obviously creates a lot of drama, and she seems to be the only one that remembers that this was the bully, and then all sorts of stories come out, and it is just really good. It's really funny. I really enjoy it, obviously, and again, this is another one with a great soundtrack. This is why I like Hall & Oates, this movie. So there you go. Next we have an absolute classic of a teen movie, She's the Man. This is another movie that I will, without fail, laugh and have a great time every single time that I watch it. It's just amazing. We've got Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum as our main characters, and this movie is like loosely based off Shakespeare's The Twelfth Night. So we've got a Shakespeare retelling. So Amanda Bynes' character Viola is a big soccer player. She loves soccer. Soccer is everything to her, but the girls' soccer team at her high school gets cancelled, so she wants to try out for the boys' soccer team. But her boyfriend at the time and the coach of the boys' soccer team both agree that girls aren't as good as boys, they can't be in the boys' soccer team. So, to prove them wrong, she impersonates her twin brother Sebastian, transfers to this boarding school called Illyria, and she pretends to be Sebastian and joins their soccer team so she can verse her old high school and play soccer. And it's just really good. I love this so much. It's a rom-com, so there is like a romance storyline between Viola and Channing Tatum's character Duke, but it also kind of starts when she's Sebastian. It's kind of confusing, but it's really funny and I love it. It's just so good. Next movie is Howl's Moving Castle, and I love this movie. Everything about it is amazing. The animation, the colouring, the storyline. If you're listening to the English version, Christian Bale is voicing Howl. I just love it. It's really good. Also, fun fact, if you didn't know, which I just found out, what, last year, but I haven't really talked about it, and I don't know if you know it, but the little boy, Marco, I think his name was, is played by Josh Hutcherson in the English dub. So who knew? Little baby Josh was in Howl's Moving Castle. How funny. But this movie is about our main character Sophie, who gets cursed by a witch. So she tries to seek out the wizard Howl, who has a moving castle, so it's kind of hard to find, but she does find him and just invites herself into his house and becomes like the cleaning lady. It's very interesting, but it's so cute and it's so fun, and I just love it. I love it. And there's also like a little romance in there as well. It's great. I love it. And the 10th movie that I have on this list is another, I don't know, rom-com, I guess you would say, but it's also like a coming of age kind of thing as well. Set in a high school once again. We have The Duff. And this is actually like a terrible premise for a movie, because the Duff stands for Designated Ugly Fat Friend, which I just think it's horrible. Like, it is, I don't know who came up with the concept. It is really terrible, but the movie itself is really good. I just think it's good. So it follows our main character Bianca, who is played by Mae Whitman, and she discovers that she is the Duff in her friend group. So she's trying to overcome that, because she's also trying to date this guy that she likes, who's in a, is he in a band or is he in the school band? I don't know, he plays guitar and she really likes him, so she gets the help of her neighbour, who is Wesley Rush, played by someone Amel. What's his name? Robbie. And he is like really popular in the school, so she gets him like to train her into getting this other guy's attention. But beyond that, it's really funny, and there is a little romance in there as well, and it's really good, but it's just a terrible concept. I don't know what was happening in the 2010s, but that was happening. So despite this being a crazy concept with what Duff stands for, it is a hilarious movie and I enjoy it. Like, it's really funny, so I would say you should watch it. But those are my 10 comfort movies that made it onto the list today. I definitely have a whole lot more, so if you would like to see more, I'm happy to do that. But yeah, these are just ones that off the top of my head are probably my most watched ones and ones that I absolutely love. So I would also love to know if you have any comfort movies. What are ones that you've watched over 5 times? Or maybe you don't even rewatch movies. I would find that crazy because I love a familiar movie, but I would just love to know what yours are. I wonder if we have any similar ones, or if there are ones that I haven't seen yet that I should also watch. So definitely let me know in the comments. But if you did like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below, because I do post new videos every single week. I mainly post book videos, but I do really want to get into posting movie stuff because I love movies. I love TV shows as well. So I could do all sorts of things on movies and TV shows as well as books, because I just like to be entertained. So I consume a lot of different media. So stick around, because there will be more of a variety of things from me. So look forward to it. But that is it for today. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week with a new video. Goodbye.